If you are over 60 and you drive, stop what you are doing right now, because what I am about to tell you could save you from a massive fine, losing your license, or worse, being stranded on the side of the road with no legal right to drive. The DVLA has just rolled out a new rule that starts tomorrow, and millions of older drivers across the country have absolutely no idea it is coming. This is not a rumour. This is not clickbait. This is a real change that directly affects you. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what you need to do before you get behind the wheel again. Let me set the scene for you. Every single day, thousands of drivers over the age of 60 are unknowingly driving either with an expired license, an unrenewed medical declaration, or without the updated documentation that the DVLA now requires as part of their new age-related driving compliance framework. And here is the brutal truth. The police do not need to see an accident happen before they stop you. With the new enforcement protocols rolling out alongside this rule change, officers have the authority to check your license status on the spot, and if your records are not up to date, you could be looking at a fixed penalty, points on your license, or an immediate driving prohibition. So what exactly is this new rule? Let me break it down clearly so there is zero confusion. When you turn 70 in the United Kingdom, your driving license expires automatically. Most people know that part. What they do not know is that under the updated DVLA framework, the self-declaration process that you used to complete when you turned 70 has now been tightened significantly. In the past, renewing your license after 70 was relatively straightforward. You filled in a form, declared that you had no medical conditions affecting your driving, and your license was renewed for 3 years. That process still exists, but the requirements around it have changed, and there are new conditions attached to it that older drivers are simply not aware of. First, the DVLA has updated the list of medical conditions that must be declared when renewing a license for drivers over 65 and over 70. Conditions that were previously considered minor or manageable without formal declaration are now on the notifiable list. This includes certain types of sleep apnea, controlled diabetes that has had even one episode of hypoglycemia in the past 12 months, some forms of arrhythmia, early-stage glaucoma, and specific categories of medication-related impairment. If you have been diagnosed with any of these and you did not declare them on your last renewal because they were not previously required, you are now technically driving without proper medical clearance, even if your license looks perfectly valid in your wallet. Second, for drivers between 60 and 69, there is a new advisory compliance check that the DVLA is strongly encouraging, and in some cases requiring, before your next renewal. This is essentially a short medical questionnaire that can be completed online or at your GP surgery. It is not a full driving assessment. It is not an eye test. It is simply an updated self-declaration that reflects the new medical standards. But here is where people are getting caught out. If you have received a letter from the DVLA asking you to complete this, and you have ignored it or not seen it because it got lost in the post, your license could be flagged as pending review on the national database. And that means the moment you drive on public roads, you are at risk. Third, and this is the one that is catching people completely off guard, if you drive for any reason that could be classed as work-related, even casually, even just driving a friend to an appointment and accepting a small payment, you fall under additional licensing obligations that are now being actively enforced. This applies to retired people who pick up the odd delivery job, people who drive for community transport schemes, and anyone who receives any kind of benefit or payment in exchange for driving. Under the new rules, using a standard private car license for these activities without the correct medical clearance is now a criminal offence, not just a civil matter. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, how do I know if any of this applies to me? How do I know if my license is valid or if I have missed something? Here is exactly what you need to do, and I want you to write this down or screenshot this part of the video. The first thing you do is go to the government website at gov.uk and use the Check Your Driving Licence tool. You will need your national insurance number and your driving license number. This will show you the current status of your license, when it expires, and whether there are any flags or reviews attached to your record. It takes about 4 minutes, and it is completely free. If you see anything unusual or a message saying your license is under review, do not panic, but do not ignore it either. You will need to contact the DVLA directly. The second thing you do, particularly if you are over 65 or if you have any of the medical conditions I mentioned, is speak to your GP. Ask them specifically whether any of your current diagnoses or medications fall under the DVLA notifiable conditions list. Your GP will know, and if they tell you something needs to be reported, do it immediately through the DVLA Medical Inquiries portal. Reporting a condition does not automatically mean you lose your license. In the majority of cases, people declare a condition, the DVLA reviews it, and the license is either renewed normally or renewed with a 1-year or 2-year review period attached. What costs people their license is not declaring something and then having it come to light through a GP referral, an accident, or a routine enforcement check. The third thing you do is check when your license physically expires. If it is coming up in the next 3 months, start the renewal process now. Do not wait until the last week. The DVLA has been experiencing processing delays due to the administrative load created by this new rule rollout, and some people who applied just weeks before their expiry date have found themselves in a grey area where their old license has expired, but their new one has not yet arrived. While the DVLA does send an acknowledgement that acts as temporary cover, it is an unnecessary source of stress and confusion that you can entirely avoid by acting early. Now, let me talk about something that a lot of people in this situation are feeling but not saying out loud. There is a real fear among drivers over 60 that any interaction with the DVLA is going to result in them losing their independence, and I completely understand that. Driving is not just about getting from A to B, it is about freedom. It is about being able to visit family, get to medical appointments, do the shopping, maintain a social life. The idea of losing that is genuinely frightening, and that fear causes people to avoid dealing with their license paperwork, which then creates exactly the problem they were trying to avoid. But here is the reality. The DVLA is not out to take licenses away from older drivers. The statistics actually show that drivers between 60 and 75 have some of the safest records on the road. They are experienced, they are careful, and they take fewer risks than younger drivers. The purpose of this new framework is not to push older drivers off the road. It is to create a more consistent and transparent system for managing health-related driving fitness across all age groups. The problem is that the communication around these changes has been genuinely poor. Letters have gone out to some people and not others. The online information is buried in government language that most people find impenetrable. And the result is that millions of completely safe, perfectly capable drivers are unknowingly non-compliant through no fault of their own. That is exactly why I made this video. Because you deserve to know. You deserve to have this information explained clearly and directly, so you can take the right steps before tomorrow's enforcement update kicks in. Let me also mention something about car insurance that ties directly into all of this. Many people do not realize that if your license is technically invalid, even through a paperwork oversight rather than a deliberate act, your car insurance can be voided. That means if you are involved in an accident, even one that is entirely the other driver's fault, your insurer can refuse to pay out. You could be left personally liable for repair costs, medical costs, and legal fees. This is not a small risk. This is a financial catastrophe waiting to happen for anyone who does not take their license status seriously. So let me summarize exactly what you need to do before you drive tomorrow. Check your license status on gov.uk. Speak to your GP if you have any health conditions or take regular medication. Start your renewal now if your license expires within the next 3 months. And if you have received any letter from the DVLA in the past 6 months, find it, read it, and act on it today. Do not assume that because you have been driving for 40 years without a problem, that everything is automatically fine. The rules have changed, the enforcement is changing, and the people who take 5 minutes to check their status today are the ones who will be driving confidently and legally tomorrow. There is one more thing I want to say before we wrap up. If you have a parent, a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, a neighbour, anyone over 60 in your life who drives, please share this video with them. Not in a patronising way, not in a way that makes them feel like you are questioning their ability. Just send it to them with a message saying you saw something they might want to know about. Because the truth is, most of the people who need this information the most are not the ones searching for it online. They are the ones whose grandson or daughter sends it to them over WhatsApp on a Tuesday morning. You sharing this video could genuinely make a difference to someone's life, their independence, their finances, their safety. The DVLA is not going to call you personally. They are not going to knock on your door. It is on you to stay informed and to take action. And now you have the information. Now you know what is changing, why it is changing, and exactly what steps you need to take. There is no reason to be caught out by this. A few minutes of your time today can protect your license, your insurance, your independence, and your peace of mind for years to come. Do not wait. Check your license today. Talk to your GP if you need to. Get your renewal started if it is due. And drive knowing that everything is in order. Because that peace of mind, that confidence, that freedom to just get in your car and go wherever you need to go without any worry hanging over you, that is worth every minute it takes to sort this out. If this video helped you, or if you think someone you know needs to see it, please share it right now. And if you want to stay on top of important updates like this one, information that actually affects your daily life, and that the mainstream media often buries in small print, then subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and you will never miss a video that matters. I put out content that is practical, clear, and genuinely useful, because you deserve straight answers without the waffle. Subscribe now, and I will see you in the next one.